Bookie Beatdown coming at you, Paul, Cody, UFC Rio Picks and Bets. 13-14 fight card. Lots of exciting matchups. Any thoughts before we get into the action here, Cody?
Yeah, we're going to Brazil, Paul. We got one of these greasy fight nights, although I do actually really like this card from an entertainment standpoint and a betting standpoint. But you got to wonder about the local hometown judging and the crowd and the effect it's going to have. And there's a lot of close fights on this card. So on one hand, it's like coming off of last week, which, picks wise, I think we went 9-3 on the entire card, or 10-4, 9-4, doesn't matter. Picks wise, individually fine. It's like we're not getting the anchors. We're not getting the guys at the top that really should be coming through. And yeah, all we can do this week is try to figure out the right combination. So I'm happy to be joined by my guy, Paul Shaughnessy, to talk some sense into me. And yeah, the work has been done. The tape study has been made. We just got to hope that these guys go out there, execute the game plan, and cash on this ticket for us this week, old boy.
Yes, sir. All right, main event. We have Mateusz Gamrot taking on Charles do Bronx Oliveira. It's pretty close to a pick'em. Oliveira, I bet online right now. It's completely a straight pick'em at this point in time. I will not really scared about betting this fight, getting overexposed to this fight in a lot of ways. I love Charles, so I think I'm always going to be a little bit biased towards him. We're in Brazil. Gamrot tries to get himself out of trouble by wrestling. Going into Charles is one of those few guys still. It's just there have been guys that have successfully went into his guard and done it, and been able to hang out there. But it's if you get rocked on the feet, shoot a takedown, Charles is one of the guys that will absolutely snatch up your neck and put you away. So yeah, everything leads me towards betting Charles Oliveira. But my concerns about him are, one, we do a lot of the regional scene stuff at this point. It feels like Charles is a part-time fighter at this point. Doing a lot of coaching, a lot of mentoring, everything like that. I know he used to be, maybe he still is, into the horse game and all of that. So it's I think he's doing I don't know if this is Charles at his absolute peak. Gamrot hasn't historically been a big power puncher. That's always my biggest concern with Charles Oliveira. All is to say, Charles is my pick, but I'm a little scared. I'm a little scared because I don't know if he's fully all the way in still at this point. Where are you at with the main event?
Yeah, I think with Charles, part of it is he's getting older and he's made his money and he's already been to the highest peak of the mountain. So yeah, maybe he's got his hands in other things and other business ventures, and it's time consuming. But he's also 35 years old. He's had a lot of fights in the UFC. He's taken a lot of damage, and he's coming off a very gruesome first-round knockout loss. Of course, to Ilia Topuria, you're not going to fault him for that, but it was a pretty bad knockout loss. He has been finished a number of times in his career, and of course, the one thing that Gamrot does exceedingly well, which is take guys down and hang out in their guard, yeah, it can be exploited against a guy like Charles Oliveira. So I see all the points you're making. For me, though, when you watch the tape on him, it doesn't look like a regressed fighter. He doesn't look like he's moving slower. It doesn't look like he's unwilling to put himself into a firefight. His grappling looks really good. The Michael Chandler fight, I know it didn't age well considering Michael Chandler's not that good, but pure domination for 4.5 rounds where he's taking down Michael Chandler and dominating him. So we know the grappling's good. The cardio's good. He's fought a number of 5-round fights. He was originally supposed to headline this card against Rafael Fiziev, which would have been a tough fight. And here comes Gamrot on short notice. So we do have problems with Charles, but we know that, he's excellent in every area. He's an excellent striker. He's an excellent grappler. His wrestling is really top-notch. Even when he's giving up the easy takedowns, it's because his jiu-jitsu is so good, he knows that he starts threatening you with that. Beneil Dariush took him down, tried to hang out in his guard. What happened? Couldn't. So he's enough of this. Let's stand back up, and then Charles ends up cooking him standing, right? Hyper-aggressive, stays in his face, and just starts landing that right hand. So I really think he checks off all the boxes. What he doesn't do well is doesn't really move his head ever. And yeah, he's susceptible to getting knocked out. So Gamrot comes in a short notice, and here's my issue with Gamrot. As much as we're talking about Charles maybe being washed a little bit, 35 years old, and he's been in so many wars, Gamrot himself seems to have peaked in 2022, right? He's now 34 years old. He's always in good shape, so I'm not worried about him coming in short notice, but it's a 5-round fight, and he's not been booked in a 5-round fight since 2022. Back then, he beat Arman Sarukian. He really came alive in rounds 4 and 5. Did get knocked down in the fight, but pulls it together and wins. It's everything since then has been really lackluster. His fight with Jalen Turner, he gets knocked down in the first round. He's getting doubled up in the significant strikes, but he gets a few takedowns and he squeaks out Jalen Turner on a split decision. His fight with Rafael Fiziev, he loses the first round in all 3 judges' scorecards. The second round, Rafael Fiziev hurts his leg. Fight's over. His fight with Rafael dos Anjos knocked him down. Okay, very unusual, but knocks him down and furthermore got up a lot and had a lot of good success with the striking. It's the last two in particular, Dan Hooker. So Dan Hooker's not really known for his defensive wrestling, but what he is known for is he's tall, he's lanky, he's an aggressive striker, he likes to move forward and come in the pocket, and he's causing you to reactionary shoot. Right? Gamrot likes to shoot in the open space when he's coming forward. In fact, he's one of the few guys that doesn't rely on the cage to take you down. He loves his double legs and his single leg right in the middle, right? But when you're moving forward on him, he's stepping backwards. He's got a reactionary shoot off his back foot. He's not nearly as good. And so as a result, these guys that he does take down, they routinely get up. The longer the fights go, he starts to tire. It's a beautiful, beautiful performance last time against Ludovic Klein, right? Well, Paul can show you the numbers. The first round, Ludovic Klein lands 2 strikes. The second round, Ludovic Klein lands 2 strikes. The third round, Ludovic Klein lands 20 strikes because all of a sudden, Gamrot's wrestling's not as effective. Yeah, he takes you down, but he doesn't mash you. He takes you down, he sits up in guard, he lands a few body head, he controls positions, and then you scramble up. And when you scramble up, you tend to put damage on him. Now, here's the other interesting note about him. He's never been knocked out. He's never been submitted. But in his UFC debut, Guram Kudalits knocked him down. His fight with Arman Sarukian knocked him down. Benil Dariush knocked him down. Jalen Turner knocked him down. Rafael Dos Anjos knocked him down. And whoever considers that Dan Hooker didn't score a knockdown with that left hand, what are you talking about? Definitely knocked him down. They've been knocked down 5 times in the UFC. And a guy like Charles that presents the dual threat that he can 100% knock you out. On top of that, it could be like a Dustin Poirier situation where I will beat your ass. And then when you start to wilt from that, you'll give me the neck. I've seen Gamrot shoot some bad takedowns because he loves the double leg. He tends to shoot his neck into harm's way. But against Dan Hooker and Ludovic Klein and Rafael Fiziev and Jalen Turner, you get away with it. Right? Against Charles, you're probably not going to get away with it. And so slows down against Klein, the later it goes, it's a 3-rounder. Slows down against Hooker, the later it goes, it's a 3-rounder. The Jalen Turner fight, I don't know. I wouldn't necessarily say he slowed down, but I think there's multiple paths for victory for Charles, and he's at home in Brazil with this live crowd. If you're going to get motivated for something, it's a headlining fight against was supposed to be Fiziev. Now it's Gamrot. A win here likely puts you right back in title contention where you can fight for another multi-million-dollar payday. So I think he's motivated enough. I think he's in shape enough. I think Gamrot is going to probably be competitive the first couple rounds, doing what Arman Sarukian did. Take him down, hang out in guard, land a little bit of ground and pound. But Arman really had to work for it, and you saw him tire the longer it goes. You also saw Charles have tons of good success in that fight. Unfortunately, it's a 3-rounder. If it's a 5-rounder, Charles probably beats Arman. But it was a 3-rounder, and he ended up losing. This is a 5-round fight, and he's been getting ready for it. Gamrot hasn't. So it's an even money fight. Sure, I got Charles Oliveira. And if you want to get spicy with it, I think he finishes him. I'd like to say knockout because it's like plus 270 or something. But one, Gamrot has not been knocked out. And I am worried that the knockdown will lead to the submission. And you're right, but you're still wrong for betting purposes. So maybe just take him inside the distance and play it safe.
Yeah, I think I saw like inside. I was thinking about that while you were talking. I was flipping through the tabs here, looking at it. Plus 160 inside the distance is how I'd probably go about it. The KO prop. That's the worst thing about it is that, yeah, Charles can get that knockdown, but what is Charles doing the moment he gets that knockdown? He's probably trying to jump on your back, right? Like, pretty unlike Charles to just go with the striking finish. Like, if he has an opportunity to grab position on you, he's going to grab it. So, if I was going to do the Charles if Charles finish type of way, I would just look for the best inside the distance prop. 115 at Bet Online seems pretty rough. They're not willing to be the book that takes the heat on that one. So,
well, his money line is the same thing. So I mean, right? Is that what you said?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, they're giving you absolutely nothing.
Yeah, Gamrot's never been finished before, and the assumption here is that Charles cannot win in any other fashion than inside the distance. I mean, listen, he went the distance
win by
Michael
decision.
Chandler. Of course he could. Of course he could. Yeah, I don't know. Watch out for Gamrot to slow as it progresses. I got a couple other good fights on this card that are good live betting spots. Charles, if his chin's all the way gone, he gets knocked down in the first round. It is what it is. If he gets controlled for a round, 2 rounds, you'll get a much better number on him. And then I think the championship rounds, 3, 4, 5, Charles is just being very dynamic and a threat really everywhere. It's going to pay dividends the longer this thing goes. I think he gets Gamrot out of there.
We got Montel Jackson taking on Deiveson Figueiredo. Montel Jackson's about a minus 300 favorite to come back on Figgy plus 250. Where are you at with this?
Figgy might be done, and he's definitely small, very small in comparison to Montel Jackson, who's got a 5-inch height advantage on him and a 7-inch reach advantage on him. He's younger. It's gonna be a problem. But I am actually taking Figgy. I know. Simply because the number on Montel Jackson just really makes no sense. I mean, keep in mind, Montel Jackson's a guy that's in his 30s. It's not some uber prospect. He's 9-2 in the UFC. 9 wins in the UFC. And yet, what's his biggest win in the UFC? I don't know. Damon Blackshear, maybe. Daniel Marcos, maybe. What I'm getting at is that they've really strung him along the slow process. This is not a guy that when he was 27, 28, and they talked about his freakishly long reach, and he's got the biggest hands in the UFC, where he's like an XXL glove or something like that. Like that, why didn't this guy materialize into a top 15, top 10 guy? I just don't think that his skills are really all that good. Matchmakers probably know it. I think he knows it. I think maybe not. He knows it. Fighters got to have self belief in him, but. Yeah, what I'm getting at is when you look at these wins, right? Let's start with the JP Buys fight. Okay, so JP Buys is a flyweight coming up, but in that first round, JP Buys takes Montel Jackson down, spends like a minute and 40 seconds in control time on top, mounts him at one point. Fortunately, JP Buys not very good, so he slips off. Montel Jackson takes over, scores 4 knockdowns, but doesn't knock out JP Buys, who everybody else had otherwise knocked out. His fight with Julio Arce, the first round, nothing happens. We're both staring at each other the entire time. Montel is a very low volume striker. Now Figgy's a very low volume guy too, but that's why Figgy's live in this fight. Montel Jackson be averaging just over 3 strikes landed per minute, and he's fought a very low level of guys. These are the kind of guys you should be racking up tons of strikes on. Instead, you land 25 significant strikes over JP Buys over 15 minutes. 4 knockdowns, only 25 significant strikes landed. Against Arce, he lands 48 significant strikes, gets taken down at the end of the second round as well. Not a good look. Against Daniel Marcos, his last time out, went 15 minutes. He got taken down 3 times, like 5 or 6 attempts, gave up a little bit of control time, but he also only landed 30 significant strikes over the course of 15 minutes. These fights are 29-28s. You're splitting hairs. He could be winning the round. He's just not winning the round in exceedingly quick, good fashion. Mm-hmm. A knockout over Blackshear quick, a knockout over Rami Yahya quick. Those are not nice knockouts. He has some natural power. But a lot of the time, these guys with natural power, they're not looking to overextend and throw in combination. They're just waiting for that one punch. And as you can see from the Marcos decision, the Arce decision, the JP Buys decision, when the knockout doesn't materialize in the first 2-3 minutes, there's not a whole body of work here. He's not an elite striker. He doesn't have big volume. He doesn't have elite conditioning. He doesn't have elite wrestling. He's good. And he's good in a lot of these areas. But his fights are prone to being close, which you've seen him be in close fights with lesser guys than a former champion like Figgy, and the fight's in Brazil. And if this fight is just close and low volume in Brazil, Figgy's live to win this thing. And then he squeaks it out. So when we're talking about Daniel Marcos took him down 3 times, Julio Arce took him down, JP Buys is a good wrestler, but again, he's a flyweight. So those guys can take you down. Well, there's a good chance that Deiveson Figueiredo can mix in takedowns. Yeah, Corey Sandhagen and Peter Yan and Rob Font, maybe they're not the greatest takedown defense guys, but they're all elite fighters. You're not talking about a Montel Jackson that's fought Jesse Strader and Ronnie Yahya. You're talking about a guy that's been in there with the creme de la creme, and he's competitive at points with those guys. His initial run to 135, he fights Rob Font, rocked him with a couple big punches standing, plus mixed in the takedowns. His fight with Cody Garbrandt, again, rocked him with a couple decent punches, but took him down and subbed him. His fight with Marlon Vera is a lot closer to what we're going to see in this fight, right? Marlon Vera's tough. Marlon Vera's got, some grit, some tenacity, not great takedown defense. And he doesn't simply rely on the takedown defense. He relies on fighting the super smart, patient game where he waits and he waits and he waits and he waits. And then when he explodes, it's a big shot. And the big shot draws a big reaction. And if there's nothing else going on in these rounds other than a few sporadic good moments from Figgy, he's going to edge out these rounds. Again, Peter Yan and Corey Sandhagen, what makes those guys unique is they're both very high volume strikers. Both of them, just crazy volume. Montel Jackson, not a volume striker. So the blueprint to beat Figgy is there, right? Just double him up on the striking numbers. And, the guy's a former flyweight. Maybe you can take him down. Maybe you can have some success that way, but just outwork him. And Montel Jackson's he's really not one to outwork you or throw in high volume. Therefore, I don't really know that his style overwhelmingly is 3-1 better than Deiveson Figueiredo. Former champion, co-main event, big spot. He really needs a win. This is most definitely a step down in competition for him. He's not taking on some 26-year-old killer. He's taking on a Montel Jackson, has 9 wins in the UFC. None of them really, against top-level competition. So, yeah.
In Brazil, too.
It's a dog or pass fight, Paul. For me, that's what it is. And so I took Deiveson Figueiredo.
Yeah, it's dog or pass for me as well. Yeah, the wrestling, we'll see if we can get there. I mean, I understand why, Montel Jackson, the amount of length advantage that he has in this fight.
big.
Like, I understand. He's got a 7-inch reach advantage, 5 inches taller. I'm not even rushing to the window to add Figgy because weigh-ins are going to happen. People are going to see these guys standing next to each other, and wouldn't be surprised to see Figgy get up to like plus 300. Like, I wouldn't be shocked by that whatsoever in today's market. So, don't have to rush to the window to bet Figgy right this second, but or you could just wait, see how the early portion of this fight plays out. Like, Jackson is very, very dangerous, lands absolutely that knockout that he had of Damon Blackshear was like absolutely filthy one too.
He's gonna knock out Figgy. Figgy can take a hell of a punch, but you're right.
No, I'm saying like you can watch to make sure something like that doesn't happen.
Yeah,
bet these things in live markets. Like, you don't always have to get your money in pre-flop on a lot of this stuff. Live markets are available to 90% of bettors, and if it's not available to you, you probably need more books. But yeah, it's dog or pass for me. The wrestling concerns for Montel Jackson to be laying minus 300 on him. I don't care. I don't really care about the size because if you're 5'5", taking on a guy who's 5'10" with bad wrestling, well, the one saving grace that you have is you're closer to the hips.
Yeah.
So Figgy, dog or pass. Moving on down, we've got Joel Alvarez taking on Vicente Luque. Alvarez is the biggest favorite on the card, minus 550. The comeback on Luque, plus 400. Who you got?
So the only concern would be that you've got Joel Alvarez who's moving up to 170 pounds, but he's 6'3". I don't really think the move up in weight class will affect him that much. But one of his best gifts is that he's so big at 155 that, he can just march you down. There's elbows over the top, just hyper aggressive game. Even though he's so long, he doesn't throw with the jab or kick to the outside. He's like constantly pressuring you in your face. And then his jiu-jitsu is world class. His grappling is world class. So eventually you wilt from the pressure of him beating you up standing, and then he just drags you to the ground and chokes you out, which is a highly effective strategy against 155ers. Luque, I think he's shot. And so because I think he's shot, I am going to take Joel Alvarez, even though he's moving up a weight class. But this is a tougher fight because Luque enjoys fighting inside the pocket himself. Is much bigger than the guys you've been fighting and could be a lot harder to take down in comparison. So the problem with Luque is you go back to he'll fight at your level, right? Like when he fought Brian Barberena landed 169 significant strikes on him and knocked him down. It was a good fight, though. It was a fun fight. But see, that became his thing. I'm just going to get in these really fun fights. So as a result, Mike Perry landed 87. Stephen Thompson landed 138. Nico Price landed 129. And then I just feel like it all started to come unglued. The Jeff Neal fight was really the end of it. And Jeff Neal landed 121, but knocked him out. Prior to that, he hadn't been getting knocked out. Since getting knocked out by Jeff Neal, he's kind of changed his game. He wants to wrestle a lot more. You saw the Rafael dos Anjos fight. He got 8 takedowns. He had never completed a takedown in the UFC till the Rafael dos Anjos fight. He don't want to play punchy kicky no more. So he's trying to wrestle, which worked there against Joaquin Buckley in the very next fight. Did not work. Joaquin Buckley nukes him in the first round with another knockout. So that was a second round knockout. But knocks him out in the second round. And then now you're just seeing the regression to him, I believe. Themba Gorimbo, you can still beat a guy of that level. Grabs the Darce choke, subs him. But that last fight against Kevin Holland, the first round is just Kevin Holland battering him. And at one point, Luque grabs a single leg takedown, and Kevin Holland doesn't even try to defend it. He just starts punching him in the face while Luque holds onto the leg without trying to do anything with it. He got beat up standing. He got doubled up in the significant strikes. In the second round, he takes a bad shot. He ends up in a Darce choke, and Kevin Holland beats him with his own move. To me, it wasn't like I slipped and made one mistake. It was that what made him effective and dangerous was his willingness to just constantly come forward and engage you in a stand-up affair, really drain you out and utilize his cardio. Now he's not looking to get hit, so he's taking these bad shots and he's leaving his neck out there. And against taller guys that are rangier guys, He just gets popped from the outside. Kevin Holland just kept popping him, long-range weaponry. Joel Alvarez really doesn't use his long-range weaponry. But when you look at Holland 6'3" with an 80-inch reach, Joel Alvarez is 6'3" with a 77.5-inch reach. So, like, he has a lot of the same proportions, and Luque struggled mightily with that length. So I think Alvarez just marches him down, smashes him with an elbow. Prime Luque eats it like a sandwich, no problem, right? This version of Luque probably is affected by it. If he takes a bad shot, he's going to get wrapped up. His neck will get wrapped up. He'll get subbed. If he stands there and holds his ground, again, Alvarez is capable of taking him down. If not, just keep the battering going, standing up. What the two things I will say for Alvarez is that he fought at 145 once upon a time. And he's fought his entire career at 155 or catch weights of 160. He has missed weight twice in the UFC. So 170 shouldn't be like out of his grasp. But Luque used to fight at 185 once upon a time. So, you know, if that physicality is off the table and Luque comes in with a good performance at home in Brazil and can keep this thing close, who knows? But the reason that sealed the deal for me, Elvis Brenner is not on the level of a Vicente Luque. I'm not suggesting that, but Alvarez's cardio, that's really the only fight that you can look at. How does he look in a round 2 and a round 3? He doesn't slow down. And if he's capable of creating great damage on Vicente Luque and continue that progression for rounds 1, 2, and 3, if necessary, yeah, he'll get them out of there at some point. So I got Joel Alvarez to get the job done, but interested in seeing Wayne's to kind of seeing how they match up with each other physically.
Yeah, when was that fight? So it was December 14th, the last fight for Joel Alvarez. So he's had close to 10 months.
Yeah.
10 months from missing weight, correct? Against Drakkar Close?
I think he just pulled out. No, he knocked out Drakkar.
No, but did he miss weight? And that's why he's moving up to 170 here?
No, he missed weight a couple other times.
I don't have Tapology.
Yeah, I'm just trying to bring it up. I know he's missed twice in his career, but they were not for that fight. He missed weight against Thiago Moises. He came in at 157 and battered him in the first round with a beautiful TKO. And he missed weight against Alexander Yakovlev, coming in at 159 and subbed him in the first round. Russian rapper. His grappling really wasn't all that bad, truth be told. So the 2 times he's missed weight and had to fight higher, he looked real good. Now he gets to fight at 170. Like Paul says, he's got 10 months to fill out his frame. He's still young, right? I'm in for Joel Alvarez. Do I put him at the top? I'd love to. And maybe I still do. But there's a bit of hesitancy here that the move up in weight class and Luque not being a rollover opponent could make this a little more difficult than I have it played out in my head.
He was booked to take on Benoit Saint Denis at 155. Yeah. So this hasn't been like a long-term plan to go up to 170.
But he probably pulled out with Benoit being like, the weight cut is killing me. I'm pulling out. Yeah. And then they're like, all right, well, do you want to just fight at 170? And it's like, sure. It's like, okay, well, you were going to fight Benoit, so we want to give you a name. How about Vicente Luque? Perfect. Rock'em Sock'em Robots. It's a really good name in the division. Incapable of having a bad fight. So you know you're in for a bonus potentially. And yeah, it's a fun introduction to the division. And if Luque still had some gas in the tank, I think I'd be on it. But really watching the last number of fights, him starting to change what got him to the big dance, I think he's reeling. And Alvarez is red hot, piping hot right now with momentum. I think he just, eventually finds a way through.
Yeah. It was a hand injury. I was just on his Instagram right now.
Hand injury.
Injury. So now,
I don't know.
I mean, none of this is like a plan to go up to 170, I don't think. But, I mean, if he beats Vicente Luque, gets the finish over Vicente Luque, he's going to be like, you know what I don't want to do anymore? Cut those extra 15 pounds. Because he is 6'3". Like, his frame should be completely fine for 170 pounds. I like Joel Alvarez to get the dub as well. I like him to get the finish. So does the market, though. That's my only concern is that, the best price I see right now is like plus 461. Or sorry, minus 461.
What's the submission specific prop? Like take TKO out of
plus 186.
Yeah, that's still
TKO KO and sub are both basically priced the exact same.
Plus 180.
Yeah, plus 170, plus 180. But KO is a little bit shorter by the average, but like we're splitting hairs at this point. And then him inside the distance is like minus 275. So I feel like the market's kind of accurate on this one. He is my pick. He's, I'm sure he'll work his way into a parlay or two for me this week. But from a value perspective, I don't know if there's very much meat on the bone per se. Moving on down, we got Jhonata Diniz taking on Mario Pinto. Diniz, the ever so slight favorite at minus 120 to come back on Pinto plus 100. Heavyweight prospects, Cody. Who do you like more?
Pinto's actually a prospect. He's only 27, which we'll talk about Walter Walker later, but that's really young for heavyweight. And so these guys are theoretically making more improvements than the rest of the division and still got many, many years ahead of them. In Pinto's case, yeah, the guy's a pretty big guy. He's 6'5", 6'5", yeah, 6'5", 79-inch reach, about 246 pounds. He has fought at 205, like as an amateur, which is only 2021. But in his 10-fight pro career, he's been at heavyweight. He's been getting bigger, and he's a very mobile guy. He's got quick feet, moves well. My problem is that he's just very green and unrefined. I would compare him personally to a Tanner Boser, right? When Tanner Boser was fighting on the regional scene, he's a decision guy. He's mobile. He's got decent volume, and he'll keep up some good pace. But for the most part, he's not really putting guys away. Then he comes into the UFC, and it was like a bright, burning phoenix, where he knocked out 2 or 3 guys in the first round, first couple rounds, first 3 fights, and it was like, holy crap. Tanner Boser is a power puncher, but he's not. He's not. It's just the right opponents at the right time. When you look at his run before he got on the Contender Series, 3 of his 4 fights leading into the Contender Series are by decision. It was just more of a quick-footed, big man. They're trying to clinch up with him. He moves out of the way. He hits you with 1, 2, likes his low kicks, likes to pop that jab. Got a fast right hand, just a little bit sloppy with it. And then on the Contender Series, he gets Lucas Camacho. Oh, this guy's really not good. So he knocks him out in the first round. Then that fight with Austin Lane, the first round he loses.
Yeah, it was rough.
Pretty clean to Austin Lane, who knocks him down. The knockdown wasn't like, oh man, he's hurt, but it was a beautiful right hand, clean to the jaw, drops him to a knee. He pops back up, and then he just refuses to throw any strikes. Austin Lane, who Lane's not good, but where he's been having a little bit of success here and there is he takes you down, right? If he takes you down, then maybe he can mount you, or maybe he can land a bit of ground and pound. But stand up, for Lane to be tripling you up in the significant strikes and scoring a knockdown without taking you down, it's to me, it's a bad look. Now, he knocks him out in the second round, but Lane's also not a top-notch competitor known for his durability, and it kind of bailed him out. So when I see his Contender Series fight, his UFC fight, they're knockouts. It would lead you to believe that this guy's a power puncher, but he's really not, right? He's prone to getting outworked against better strikers. Diniz is kind of that to me, right? Whereas one guy turned pro in 2021, Diniz was fighting in glory, fighting some of the best guys in kickboxing for many years. He's a Brazilian kickboxing champion. He is 34 years old and he's slow, but 34 is not a death sentence at heavyweight. And whereas he is slow, I think he's so slow because he's waiting for guys to take him down. But you can see fight after fight, he gets a little more comfortable in there. He gets a little more comfortable that he can actually stuff the takedowns. And so fights like Austin Lane fight, he got taken down the first round, he got mounted, he survives the second round, you see him open up with the striking, he gets the knockout. His Carl Williams fight, Williams is obviously told don't wrestle this guy, so it's a weird fight, but his striking looked good, his cardio looked good. The Marcin Tybura fight, he didn't quit, right? He gets his head drubbed in the second round, he wins the striking exchanges, gets taken down, takedown defense did look better, grappling looked better, he got drubbed really bad at the end of the second round, and the doctor was like, man, your face is split, not only that, you're walking wobbly, do you want to fight? And he was like, oh, yeah, I want to fight. And they're like, you know, you can't fight, man. They waved it off. So he got some heart. Cardio's not bad. Striking's good. And then that last fight with Alvin Hines, to me, kind of seals it. Hines is not good. He's not good. But he was on steroids. Currently suspended by USADA because he pissed massively hot after that fight. So Hines zombies his ass. He just keeps coming forward and eating tons of shots. And his cardio
Hines wouldn't die.
He just wouldn't go away because he's EPO'd to the gills and he's ready to fight. It's his UFC debut. He's like a unionized engineer in Minnesota. This is the highest of his adrenaline his veins have ever had. It was a weird fight. But see, the good thing there is that Diniz's cardio checked out. He stuffed the Hines takedowns. He landed 112 significant strikes. So to me, him versus Mario Pinto, he is a better striker. Pinto's faster than him, but Pinto, the fact that Austin Lane was beating him up standing and he wasn't throwing any strikes leads me to believe that he's probably lower output. You know, this is a big spot in Brazil. You're getting Juva Mejias. It's on the main card. This guy's got good technique. He's excellent with his leg kicks, which is going to pay dividends because his opponent, Mario Pinto, is 6'5". He's got these skinny little legs on him. So this is a middling-ass heavyweight fight. It's hard to feel good on either side. But I do feel like, considering that Jonathan Diniz didn't have a whole lot of MMA experience, you see him getting progressively a little more comfortable, and he's got enough advantages that I think he can make this thing happen and squeak it out. So he's slower, he's plodding, he'll get punched in the face a few times, no doubt about it. If he can put in a performance like he did against Alvin Hines, work the legs, keep a high output, I think he'll be okay. So he's my pick ever so slightly.
Yeah, getting knocked down by Austin Lane, red flag. Some of his other regional level and levels fight league performances against, like, going to decision against something called an Aladdin Ben Halma, who's like now 2-4.
Went to decision with a lot of shitty guys. That's why I'm not buying this power punching thing.
Yeah, like I bet him against Austin Lane, but that's because, like, Austin Lane's one of the worst guys in the division.
That's fair.
Bring him over to Brazil. Now, you've been fighting in Levels Fight League. Your UFC debut was at the Apex, which, let's face it, the Apex doesn't count. There's no, like, the pressure. Now you're going to be in front of a swarming crowd of like 20,000 Brazilians who all want you dead, against a credentialed kickboxer. Much, much different type of situation here. And I don't know if I've seen the wrestling from Pinto to really lead me to believe that, like, he's just going to absolutely dominate that realm. So Diniz by knockout. Uval Moreira. Someone's head's getting knocked off. Probably Pinto's, but we will find out on Saturday. Moving on down, we've got Ricardo Ramos taking on Kaan Ofli. Ricardo Ramos, a minus 175 favorite to come back on Ofli, plus 150. The handicap of this fight becomes a lot more difficult, Cody, because fighting nerds, they don't just win every single fight anymore. I mean, I guess Ricardo Ramos was like one of those guys that was like kind of, he's been like kind of part-time. I don't know if they were really counting his record against that like 21-0 streak or whatever, because like he was losing stuff, and I think he's been doing a little bit of training.
He just moved there, but you're not wrong. He looked awful against Chepe Mariscal, and he was there for that fight, but he used to be an alpha male for a long time.
Yeah.
Recently, he's full-time now at Fighting Nerds. But you're right, they're not claiming him. They're like, this dude is inconsistent. Let's keep him on the sidelines.
They must really like this guy. The UFC must really like him. One, when he wins, it tends to be pretty exciting. Two, when he loses, it tends to be pretty exciting. You never know if he's going to get the sub or his opponent's going to sub his ass. Like, he's so volatile that laying minus 175 on a guy like Ricardo Ramos just feels dangerous and scary. Kaan Ofli, let's face, like, the one good thing that Ricardo Ramos has done over the course of his career is just like he's never had those 3 straight losses. Just like he always, gets back on track just in the nick of time to keep his job. Now with Contender Series and all those new additions, wouldn't be surprised if he loses, 4 of his last 5 fights. He loses to Kaan Ofli here. He's probably getting the chopping block. His job's on the line. I think both of these guys' jobs are on the line. It's a true pink slip fight. And I'm going to go with Ricardo Ramos. 1, Brazil. 2, back against the wall. 3, I think the ceiling has been higher for him. But I'm not so excited about laying chalk with a guy who has just been historically just so crazy volatile. But Ricardo Ramos is pick for me. What about you?
Yeah, well, I agree with pretty well every single point you made. Like, the issue with Ricardo Ramos is if you were like, well, what are his skills? It's like he's a black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu with like good submissions. Like, yeah, good submissions. What's his striking like? He can smash you in the face with a spinning. He knocked out Eamon Zahavi with a spinning back elbow. And he threw it, missed, looked at him dead in the eyes, threw it a second time, knocked him out. It was like, oh my God. So what's wrong with him? It's like that's all he does. He doesn't put in a body of work. He doesn't put in dividends. He's not his leg kick. He'll do this fancy little leg kick. And it's just like 1 or 2 of them. And it will go to the body. No, never goes to the body. And use your jab. Jab, what the hell are you talking about? Everything he does is this big, explosive, crazy movement, one big technique, and then that's it. If it works, it works. If it don't, it don't. And half of the time it works. He lands some crazy thing where he'll win. The other half of the time, it's just him falling apart. So I truly believe that him going to Fighting Nerds would be very beneficial to him. I get the gym's lost its mystique, but what they are really good at, similar to a TriStar, which has lost its mystique too, is they game plan very, very well. And the one thing that's always held this guy back is he has no resemblance of a game plan when he fights. Zero, nil, nada. So they've really started to put in some work with them. It seems to me like if you check out socials, whatever, his lead training partner for this entire camp has been Myron Santos, a guy that sticks to the basics. And Myron Santos absolutely nuked Kaan Ofli in his UFC debut. So not like, oh, this guy knows how to beat him. Just ask Myron. Myron's a lot better than you, right? But, well, what did you do? It's like, yeah, I use the leg kicks. He's really short in stature. So eventually he doesn't want to stay to the outside. So he'll crash the pocket. Is he going to crash the pocket with a combination? No. He's going to crash the pocket and try to clinch you up against the cage. That's really all he does. He doesn't strike from the outside. He doesn't really strike from the inside. He's low volume simply because he's only throwing shots in the clinch. And the clinch don't count as significant strikes. So, how can you beat this guy? You just got to wear on him. Kaan Ofli is 5'7" with a 66-inch reach, right? Ramos has got a 6-inch reach advantage on him and a 2-inch height advantage. So at distance, you can take this guy's lunch money with long distance weaponry. When he closes the distance and tries to press you up against the cage, you're a bigger man than him.
Ramos is younger still too.
He's only 30 years old. Yeah, he's one of those guys that I used to call him poor man's Charles Oliveira because like his technique is actually really good, but he just falters and falls apart. The difference is Charles fixed that. Charles ended up being a world champion. Ricardo's not fixed that. But he's got a chance to prove us wrong on Saturday and start to build a little bit of momentum. So the last thing I'll say about Ofli is when Ofli fought Myron Santos, yeah, whatever, it's a nasty knockout, but he doesn't know how to attack him. So on the outside, he's just sitting there all bunched up. And when he swings from very far out. His fight with Nemov, he maybe did a little bit of better count himself, but when he clinches up with Nemov, you really see Ofli's not big for this weight class at all. And so Nemov's just too physically strong. He peels him down when he needs to. Ramos, I think he's bigger, he's faster, he's longer, he's got a lot more experience. One guy's 0-2 in the UFC. Ramos has at least had 15 fights in the organization and won a number of them. And if he can stick to that type, even when he fought Bill Algeo back in the day, right? The eight takedowns, that's a game plan. I'm going to take him down over and over. Go out there and fight a game plan and you win. But all your points about at minus 175, this guy's got a proven track record of being very, very untrustworthy. You got to be careful where you put him up in your lineup this week. And if he wins, it'll be spectacular. If he loses, you're going to hate yourself. Trust me, I've been there. So, yeah, I am taking him as well, but I don't want to pay too much for sure.
Michael Aswell takes on Lucas Almeida. Aswell minus 145 favorite to come back on Almeida plus 125. Who you got?
Yeah, I originally took Lucas Almeida. I think I'm reeling back from that and I'm switching the pick over to Michael Aswell, but we're splitting hairs here. It's not like there's much that's really separating them. To me, it's that with Lucas Almeida, there's just a number of things. Part of the reason I've taken him before was because it's in Brazil. And I think that this is going to be a rock'em sock'em back and forth striking affair where he's going to land plenty of good shots on Michael Aswell, who has absolutely no striking defense. Tons of volume. He has zero striking defense. And so Almeida's going to be landing eye-catching shots. The crowd's going to be loving it. It's going to be back and forth. Aswell's last 3 fights, 2 of them were by split decision. And then his last one against Balaji Oki, people thought it could have also been a split decision. He's in just really close-natured fights. There's slight plus money on Almeida, who's at home. And again, this is how Almeida likes to fight. He likes to plant his feet directly in front of you and fight within the pocket. His technique's really not all that good. He likes to fight within the pocket. Mike Trezano tried to fight him inside the pocket. Knocks him out. Got knocked down himself in the first round, but wobbly legs, the jitter, he gets back up. He fights his way through, knocks down Trezano, and then ends up putting him away in the 3rd round. His fight with Andre Fili. Fili stood with him, knocked him out. His fight with Timmy Kwamba. In the 3rd round, he loses the 3rd round to Timmy Kwamba. But even in the first 2, Paul, he just stands right in front of him. Doesn't do a whole lot. His fight with Danny Silva's last time out, that's considered a high volume fight for him, right? But what evades him is that he's not landing. He averages almost 5 significant strikes landed per minute, right? Which doesn't seem bad on paper, but when you watch him fight, he's prone to getting outworked and he's sloppy, right? Against Michael Aswell, all the guy does is just throw extreme volume. The reason why I ended up switching the pick is one, Montel Aswell is 9 years younger than Almeida. So you go to Lucas Almeida that at 145, it is a tough weight cut for him. I believe he missed weight in his last fight against Danny Silva. He came in at 148. Now he's expected to cut down to 145 again, and it's in Brazil, and there's expectations, and you're 34 years old. I don't know that the weight cut's going all that well for him. Aswell, meanwhile, he just fought Balaji Oki at 155 on short notice. He's coming back down to 145, which is where he's most comfortable. He's 9 years younger. He's dropping back down to his natural weight class. When you watch his Contender Series fight against Bogdan Grad, he lands 155. Against Balaji Oki on a week's notice up a weight class, he lands 118. His fight with this Dorian Ramos, I believe, which is his fight right before the Oki fight, Dorian Ramos, wins a split decision. It's another just sloppy fight that if you stand in the pocket with him and you throw, you're going to have success. The difference is Ramos shoots takedowns. And Balaji Oki mixes in, and Bogdan Grad especially, with the 3 takedowns. That's how you stifle a guy that just stands in front of you and constantly throws. You take him down, right? Lucas Almeida has a 0% takedown accuracy. It is for lack of effort. He shot 0 against Zellhuber, 0 Trezano, 0 against Pat Sabatini, 0 against Filho, 0 against Kwamba. He shot 1 takedown in his last fight against Danny Silva, never got close, and bailed on it. So, does he have the wrestling to disrupt Michael Aswell standing in front of him throwing 150 strikes? No, probably not. He's going to plant his feet and try to throw with him, which is fine. It'd be a great fight. So he'll start to get doubled up. And once it's like, oh, he's landed 85 and Aswell's landed 135, the decision should go for Aswell. But yeah, it's in Brazil. And yeah, it's striker versus striker. Yeah, Michael Aswell's not very good. So there's enough reasons that you could pass or take a flyer on the underdog. But yeah, man, age is important in this game. I feel like Almeida, coming off a bad weight cut, is starting to slow down a bit. And as well, this is full camp at 145 pounds. You'll see a better version of him than you did against Oki, and that version really wasn't all that bad. So I'll take the American, but I'm going to get screwed on a split decision, and I wouldn't be shocked. In fact, Aswell's in a lot of split decisions. So bet the split decision prop, and you might be having yourself a hell of a good time.
You took the words right out of my mouth. I was like, you know what this all sounds like? Fight ends in split decision plus 500.
Yeah, and they might get it right, but it'll be a split either way.
that way you're covered on both. And we're in Brazil. It could be a volume versus like who lands the better strikes. Close, competitive. Should be a super, super fun fight that when it goes to the scorecards, you aren't completely sure exactly which way the judges are going to go with it. And it's priced as such with, it being minus 145 plus 125. So I just took the split decision probably right now as we were talking. I'll go in terms of for the purposes of the show, I'll side with Aswell as the pick just based on the fact that 120, 130, 140, 150 strikes are in his wheelhouse, but it seems like Almeida maybe 100 would be kind of in his.
That would be career best.
That would be career best, but he's taking on a guy who's going to like allow him to be career best in this department.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, that's fair. That's a fact.
So that's why, I feel like if it just slug it out, maybe, split decision seems spicy to me. So you can take that.
Think about this, Paul, right? If you're a judge sitting cage side, okay, and if you're a UFC judge, chances are you're blind, because at least from my experience, that these judges, I believe they're all blind. Then you gotta go based on what you hear, and what you're hearing is this. Cricket, or who for my hair? Who for my hair? Who? It's like, whoa! I think something just happened for the Brazilian guys. So yeah, you gotta watch these judges down there. They can't see; they go with what they hear. And the Brazilian crowd support their guys, unlike any crowd you have seen. They really do get behind their athletes. So split decision. I like you. A little shot there.
All right, Clayton Carpenter takes on Jafel Filho. Carpenter a minus 120 favorite to come back on Filho plus 100. Pretty much a straight pick 'em. Who you got here?
Yeah, well, this is another one of these split decision type fights, to be honest with you. And it's prices a pick 'em, and they're aware. And if this is in Las Vegas, I'm taking Clayton Carpenter. And in Brazil, I think it's going to be really close and contested. What I can say, and I'm going to take Carpenter, is I will take Carpenter after the first round. I think he's going to lose the first round. Jafel Filho he does a lot of things well. What he doesn't do well is he doesn't throw any strikes. He lands 1.9 strikes landed per minute, less than 2. It's very, 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 very low. He comes in, he's got this long, lanky frame. He throws 2 punches, tries to clinch up with you. When he's in the clinch, his body lock takedowns, they're pretty good. And as soon as he gets you to the ground, he's got good shutdown jiu-jitsu. But shutdown jiu-jitsu is like he's not really trying to ground and pound you. And for the most part, he'll get a quick submission over Ode Osborne or a quick submission over Daniel Barres. When that quick submission doesn't happen, I just don't see the whole body of work from him. I don't really see him putting in the work in the long term. You go back to his fight with Alan Nascimento. Nascimento's a top-level grappler, 3rd-degree Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt, I believe. Very, very stout grappling. Jafel Filho takes him down in the first round, controls him, neutralizes him, takes his back, puts a body triangle in. Beautiful first round. Second round, he also takes him down. Then he gets antsy on his back take. So he goes for a back take. He's a little bit too high. Nascimento reverses him. There's 3 minutes left in that second round. Once he ends up on the bottom, he can't get back up. Not only can he not get back up, he's not even trying to get back up. The third round is 1-1. Go out there, betting underdog. I bet him. Come on, man. Push through this third round. He comes in. What do you know? He gets the takedown over Nascimento. And then he tries to take his back, and he goes too high, and he gets reversed, and then he accepts the 3.5 minutes on his back. Just lets the fight slip away from him. Total, he landed 14 significant strikes over 15 minutes. His fight with Muhammad Makayev, mind you, Makayev's the one's getting the takedowns, but he landed 9 significant strikes, mostly getting ungrappled. He caught Makayev in a knee bar in the third round, apparently cracked Makayev's knee, but Makayev didn't tap, reversed, took his back, choked him out with a rear naked choke. He's 32 years old. Don't think he's getting incrementally better. Don't think his cardio is that good. But he's got a really nice body lock takedown, and in the first round, he's a problem. The problem with Clayton Carpenter is athletically, oh, dude, he's way faster. He's got way better footwork. He's got better striking. He's got higher volume. He's got better punching power. He's comes from a Golden Glove boxing background. He's a better striker. His wrestling is really good too, and his ability to stuff takedowns in the open space is really good. When Tagir Ulanbekov shoots single legs and double legs in front of him, he stuffs them all. Beautiful sprawl in this guy. When he gets him up against the cage, he body lock, takes him down. And this is where the problem becomes. Whenever Tagir Ulanbekov would get him down, he couldn't get up. And against Jafel Filho, who's a really good grappler, if he gets you down with his body lock takedown, which is 100% on the table, Carpenter's probably going to give up 2-3 minutes of control time. He's not going to get subbed. He's not going to get knocked out, but he's just not going to be able to get back up, and therefore will lose the round. The second round will be a lot closer, but I expect Carpenter to use that footwork, use that speed, use those low calf kicks, start to outwork this guy. And you just got to, when he bowls over to get you up against the cage, you got to move, get out of the way. You're in an arena. It's a big cage. There's space to work with. Carpenter can utilize that space. It's a flyweight fight. Use every bit of it. Make him come to you, counter him, get out of dodge. We're good. Then Carpenter can offensively take Filho down. What I notice is Filho on top, he's a problem. Filho off his back ain't get it all. So if Carpenter can just mind his P's and Q's, get out of this first round, start to tire this man, he'll win striking exchanges standing. He'll mix in small takedowns here and there. It's Brazil. They have to get it right for me for all of this to come to fruition and work. But Jafel Filho just doesn't do enough. So the crowd, they want to see something and get excited about it. Almeida might get punched in the face 4 times, land 1. They get excited. Filo's game's not really exciting. Well, he just holds you down, gets in good positions. If he tries to advance position, he messes up. If he messes up, you're on top of him. He's got nothing. I don't like his overall work, right? He's got glimpses of brilliance, doesn't put it all together well. Carpenter's not young, but he's a guy that is getting better. He's at the MMA lab. He works with a plethora of the best guys in the sport. I feel like a good game plan is all you need to beat Jafel Filho. He'll come in with one. So I'm going to take Carpenter, but I understand taking the Americans in Brazil is probably not a great strategy. I think that they can pull it out.
Yeah, I like Carpenter. That was my pick too, just kind of coming into this fight and like hanging out and going the distance against a grappler of the quality of Tagir, who's not the best guy in the Khabib Nurmagomedov, far from it, to be perfectly honest. But just being able to hang in there with that level of grappling tells you a lot about where this kid's development is. He's younger, everything like that. Yeah, but being in Brazil is a little bit concerning. At the end of the day, at minus 120 plus 100, I feel like the books kind of have this one right now. So Carpenter is also the pick for me, but I'm gonna heed your advice and probably stick to this one in the live betting windows, because Filho is a very dangerous guy, particularly early in the fight. He comes out like a tornado, and then if you can kind of survive that early onslaught, that's when you can really take over. So surviving 3 rounds against Tagir, being on you and controlling you and everything like that shows a lot from Carpenter, that he's been working on that stuff, that he's ready for this level, or he's ready for this type of challenge. But why get over invested at minus 120 right now when he could be like plus 200 after 5 minutes? You know what I mean? If you start to see Filho a little bit slower, if you think that like, oh crap, like Clayton was able to like break that body lock, you'll have some information that you kind of are able to roll with there. So that's how I'm going to approach this fight. But Clayton Carpenter is the pick. Vitor Petrino takes on Thomas Peterson. Petrino is a minus 300 favorite, essentially. Come back on Peterson plus 260. I will say for Petrino, like the one thing I wasn't sure about what was going to happen when he went up to 100 and when he went up to heavyweight. But he came in at 249 pounds. So he was obviously cutting an insane amount of weight, getting down to 205. Thomas Peterson, slow, plodding American wrestler, doesn't have really any power in his hands. Like, they have found they're trying to build, their next. There's not many Brazilian heavyweight stars, I suppose. They're trying to build them on this card here. Peterson, in theory, is kind of the perfect matchup for Petrino, but my concern that I do have is like I can never get when he took on the Pleasure Man. I could never get the Pleasure Man fight out of my head, Cody. He was
5 takedowns given up,
7-5 in takedowns in that fight at 205 pounds. There was just a whole bunch of bad, like a lot of the other stuff here, and like some of the low volume. Tyson Pedro kind of dragging him out there. I know he went out there against Austin Lane, absolutely bodied him, got the submission win with ease there. But there's just been so much bad tape on Vitor Petrino. I'm scared to get overly invested in this guy. For me, it's Dogger Pass, Thomas Peterson. Where are you at with this fight?
Yeah, I'm in the exact same position.
Really?
Vitor Petrino is an underachiever, right? He was supposed to be this great prospect. And if you look at all of his fights, Marcin Prachnio, he's a 5-1 favorite. Modestas Blagaukas, he's a 4-1 favorite. Tyson Pedro, he's a minus 325 favorite, right? He looked real bad in that fight. And Pedro had been getting finished. He's at the tail end. He was doing some boxing. He was very disinterested. And Petrino landed 27 significant strikes over 15 minutes. He got outstruck 30-27, but he had the 3 takedowns. Fair. Against Anthony Smith, he's a minus 550 favorite. And he shits the bed and he gets guillotine choked in the first round. Against Dustin Jacoby, he was a minus 300 favorite, right? He won the first round versus Jacoby, but nothing much happened. The second round, it's pretty back and forth. He landed some good shots. I gave him the second round. 2 of the 3 judges had it 1-1 going into the third, so it's still an open fight. And in the third, he gets absolutely planted with a beautiful right hand, knocks him out. Not his problem, but at the time of the stoppage, which was 13 minutes and 44 seconds into the fight, he had landed 40 significant strikes in an otherwise stand-up affair with Dustin Jacoby. More concerning is that he went 0 for 4 in takedowns against Dustin Jacoby. So his wrestling's really not good. You can go back to his fight with Marcin Prachnio. Marcin Prachnio outstruck him 55-44. But in the third round, he got bailed out with a takedown and an arm triangle choke. With Pedro, he also got outstruck, but he got bailed out with the takedowns. Against Anthony Smith, he got outstruck. Against Dustin Jacoby, he got outstruck. His last fight with Austin Lane, he decides, I'm going to move up to heavyweight. Comes in, as Paul mentioned, 249 pounds. He's only 28 years old, so this guy could most definitely be making improvements. But over his last 4 fights prior to that Lane fight, you haven't seen any improvements. Austin Lane comes in. Austin Lane throws a shitty kick. Right? Petrino catches the kick. That's what gets him the takedown. He didn't dig underhooks up against the cage. He didn't shoot a single leg in the open field. He caught a kick and just converted it to the takedown, which is fine. Then he moves to full mount. He spends 3 full minutes in full mount. He lands 2 significant strikes in the 3 minutes that he had Austin Lane mounted. Now, late in the round, Austin Lane's like, I'm losing. I might as well try to do something. He tries to explode. He gives up his back. Petrino hits him with the rear naked choke. It's over. My mind, it's especially at heavyweight. This guy's wrestling's not good to begin with. He's not a good wrestler at 205. He ain't a good wrestler at heavyweight. He's taking on a guy now in Thomas Peterson, who is a junior college national champion and can wrestle. And is 250 pounds and is a real heavyweight. So, yeah, are you going to be able to get away with this caught kick shit? No, because honestly, Thomas Peterson doesn't throw kicks. So what are you going to do? If anything,
got to catch him clean and knock him out.
You got to catch him clean and knock him out. So I was like, well, when's the last time he caught someone clean? Modestus. He knocked out Modestus. That fight was 2 years ago, but it's at 205 pounds. And that fight is finished at 6 minutes and 3 seconds of the very first of the fight. It lasts 6 minutes and 3 seconds.
Yep.
Vitor Petrino had landed 8 significant strikes up until that point. In fact, he was getting outstruck by Modestus at the time of the stoppage. Not by much, 9-8. I'm just saying he's low volume. So wrestling's not all that good. He hit Jacoby with his best right hand. Jacoby just took it and then gave him back one and knocked him out. Durability could be a question. He's shitting your apple pie as a minus 550. He then did it against Jacoby as a 3-1 favorite. Now they're trying to feed you him as a 3-1 favorite again. Even him versus Austin Lane, who's a 6-1 favorite. They're doing their best to match this guy soft. And Peterson's not a world beater by any stretch of the imagination. But where could Vitor get in trouble? Against a big guy, which Peterson is. Against a better wrestler than him, which Peterson is. Against a guy that throws more volume, which Peterson does. Again, Vitor's landing less than 3 significant strikes landed per minute. Peterson's slightly higher, but you'll watch fights with him versus Muhammad Usman where he lands 76. That's a fight that goes to 15 minutes. That is, mostly a stand-up affair. He goes 2 for 5 on takedowns. He just kind of uses a little more volume. He's way slower than Vitor Petrino. Don't get it twisted. But if Vitor came out with like, dude, I'm going to spark this guy with superior hand speed, throwing in combinations, it would be a problem. Thing is, Vitor Petrino doesn't throw in combinations. In fact, he really doesn't throw at all. So the chance of him getting outworked, it's on the table. Chances of him getting tired at heavyweight, if this goes 2-3 rounds, it's on the table. The chances of him getting taken down, it's kind of all there. And so because he's a 3-1 favorite, I'm out of that. I'm going Peterson as well. But because it's in Brazil, and I know Thomas Peterson really isn't a world beater by any stretch, it likely is the PRP pick this week, all the way at the bottom. I'm not confident in it. It's just I ain't giving minus 300 to Vitor Petrino. Not now. Not against most of the guys in the division.
Well, are you giving minus 525 to Beatriz Mesquita, who makes her UFC debut, taking on Irina Alekseeva? We faded Beatriz on LFA, and it didn't work out well.
Paid the price.
Against Canadian, massive girl in Dinwiddie, and it was one-way traffic. Beatriz, like, you go watch tape on her, she's got some very spotty situations over the course of her career. But one, if you go on the social medias right now, Beatriz has been doing this camp, it seems exclusively, or at least a ton of work with Claudia Saigula, who it doesn't sound all that impressive, except for the fact that Claudia came in as an underdog against Alekseeva last time out, absolutely dog walked her, pillar to post. So with Beatriz coming in with her grappling credentials, she's a good-looking girl, everything like that. I think they think that she could be marketable in Brazil. This is a very big-time setup fight. She's minus 500 for a reason. But me, I always like CF dot model. It won't be me. I can't bring myself to pull the trigger on a CF dot model type of situation here. It seems like all of the ducks are aligned for Beatriz to get the win, whether she gets the sub, which I'm curious, what is the sub price on this here? Minus 130, decision, plus 300. I feel like that's where my decision gets made here. Where are you at with Mesquita versus Alekseeva codes?
Yeah, it's a women's fight. It's the up model. I get that. But this is this week's Veronica Hardy, where everyone's like, Veronica Hardy's minus 850. And it's like, yeah. It's like, oh, dude, that's wild. It's like, you gonna bet Brogdon Walker then? It's like, no, I'm not. One fighter is clearly the A side, and yeah, that's Beatriz Mesquita. So she's a little bit older. She's 34 years old. But again, this is, if you got a 24-year-old Brazilian prospect who's undefeated, they're going to be a lot more prone to making mistakes. She's young in her MMA career, but she's old in martial arts experience. Multiple time Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu world champion, defeated most of the best girls in the sport, ranging from Elizabeth Clay, who's gigantic. She beat Fiona Davies. She beat Jenna Bishop's, good by MMA grappling standards. I wouldn't say like world-class grappler. Just a lot of really high-level grappling wins. And then she transitions to MMA where, yeah, it's been smooth sailing. She goes one step further and says, I am going to go to American Top Team. And she's been at ATT for a couple years now. Paul mentioned she's getting in some really good work with Segula. She's been a regular training partner of Kayla Harrison at ATT, being that they're both 135 pounders and they're both really top-notch grapplers. So she gets a lot of good work in on the regular. And I feel like it's all kind of coming together. Reason that I feeded her one, yeah, Dinwiddie is huge. But against Hope Chase, the fight before that, Hope Chase is giant. But she takes her down. The second round, she takes her down. And you can kind of see the gears are going in motion where it's like, this fight's not easy. And I'm starting to get tired. And this big girl's beating me up standing. And then she eats it's kind of like a Paul Craig Bellato up kick. Like, it doesn't really land, but instantly she's like, that's a lie. It opened up a cut underneath her right eye. So I want to reel that back. It landed. She got up kicked in the face and it opened up a cut. But when the doctor was like, are you okay? It was an immediate, no, I'm not. I'm out of here. And she got the DQ win. So with Dinwiddie being nearly 6 feet tall and very big, strong, physical girl, worked on the oil rigs over in Alberta. It's like if she can stuff the takedowns, she's going to beat Mesquita up. First round, Mesquita shoots just the worst single leg takedown you're going to see, right? But it trips her. And as soon as there's that little instance of you get tripped up and you hit the ground and she gets on top of you, that's the rest of the round. Second round, it's a nice double leg. It's good timing on it. Let Dinwiddie come in, duck under, get to the hips, draw her over to the ground. That's all she needs. Her wrestling and her striking are not great. Her jiu-jitsu is. At one point, if her wrestling can get up to snuff or her striking can get up to snuff, she'll be a real problem. And to me, it seems like the wrestling's starting to get to where it needs to be. Irina Alekseeva, absolute fraud. They call her the Russian Ronda because she is a judo black belt. But, oh boy, Paul, it's been rough. It's been a rough go. You can go walk back to her first pro Ross against Lilia Kazik, another judoka. She's not very physically strong. She gives up a lot of suicide attempts. Stephanie Egger, UFC debut. First of all, she misses weight in that fight. Okay, comes in at 140 pounds. Second of all, she's not looking good, right? Egger goes for the takedown. She rolls for this knee bar and ends up getting it. It got a nice little UFC victory. Ever since then, it's been downhill. Her fight with Melissa Mullins, I mean, she's trying to scrap her inside the pocket, come forward, but nothing she throws, Paul, is straight. Everything is from the sides. Everything is just an open to get counter type hook. Mullins ends up, beating her up a little bit in the volume, tires her out. No problem. It's that last fight that Paul mentioned against Claudia Segula. It's as if she's thrown everything that she's ever learned out of her game. She goes out there and she just bounces straight into punches. She doesn't let her hands go. Nothing that she throws is straight. Her nose is bloody. There's just bleeding all over the place. She tries to shoot takedowns, but they're really bad takedowns. It's all judo stuff. And whereas Ron is a top-level judoka and Carl Parisian was a top-level judoka, her judo is mostly pulling opponents on top of her, right? Because those score points in judo. You pull someone on the ground, you give them a little flip, and then their elbow hits the ground first, and you get a point out of it, or you get an advantage out of it, and then they get back up and you just resume it. In MMA, it ain't working. And you can tell that her grappling game is just a giant, glaring hole waiting to get exploited. If you shoot a takedown on her, she will not dig an underhook. She will not push your head away. She will not do all the conventional stuff that a wrestler would do to avoid getting taken down. She tries to hip into you and toss you. That's where she automatically goes because of her base. So Mesquita literally just has to come in and try to give her a hug. And in trying to give her a hug, she will not push away from you and circle out. Okay? She will grab that hug and try to toss you over her hip, which is going to allow Mesquita to take the back. I think this fight is very straightforward. I think Mesquita either subs her in the first round, the very least neutralizes her for 2 rounds. And Alekseeva has 0 punching power. So if she's down 2 rounds, she ain't getting a Hail Mary win. And this little rolling knee bar, it did work against Stephanie Egger, who's a black belt. She tried it against Melissa Mullins one time. It's like Mullins just like pushed her like very effortlessly. Mullins is big, strong, and physical, right? She's not. She's going to get exploited bad in this Bia fight. When the line opened at -500, it was just like smart guys Paul Shaughnessy got Veronica Hardy at -500 last week. Seems like a pretty good. Come fight time, Veronica Hardy went off like -900. I'm thinking Bia is going to go off at -800 or 900. So I just don't see her losing this fight. As sloppy as she is, they've given her someone that's not going to fight a game plan and is very sloppy as well. Therefore, scrambles will occur. And Bia is going to win those scrambles and win this fight. So she's a play for me because it's a women's fight and it's 5-1. Can I put it at the top? No. Second line, yeah.
Yeah. All right, we got Lucas Rocha taking on Stewart Nickel. Rocha is a -125 favorite to come back on Nickel +105. We got.
Yeah, well, this is another one where it's like, if I'm going to get screwed in these close decisions in Brazil, then, so be it. But I can't sit here and just tell you guys, but this guy, because he's from Brazil, and now judges don't give it to him. I had to do the work. I had to do the tape study. Tape study suggests that I got Stewart Nickel. This Lucas Rocha's got a ballooned up record, man. He came into the UFC. He was 17-1, and he was a +190 underdog to Clayton Carpenter, whom we talked about a little bit earlier. He's not good. But we'll go back with, say, he fights Mateusz Severino, LFA 159. This is 2 years ago, okay? He's a 2-1 favorite over Severino. First round, Severino takes him down, takes his back, puts the body triangle and wins the round. Second round, he's able to keep it standing. Now, when he keeps it standing, his striking is definitely serviceable. He likes to throw some combinations, 1-2, followed with a nice high kick, snappy kick game to him, moves his feet well. It's that he's not super physical in the clinch. He stands at 5'3", which, even though it's flyweight, he's not a big flyweight. Therefore, his striking is fast and he can throw combinations, but his grappling is susceptible because he's not physically strong. Severino, furthermore, takes him down at the end of the third round. I thought Severino won. Judges end up giving it the other way. No big deal. But that's one issue, that this guy doesn't look that good. He was supposed to fight Davy Bittencourt on the Contender Series on October 3rd at 125 pounds. He weighed in at 131. So they moved the fight back 1 week, and he did fight Davy Bittencourt at 133 pounds without having to cut any weight, okay? In that fight, Davy Bittencourt took him down 5 times on 14 attempts in the first round. And on all 3 judges' scorecard, Davy Bittencourt won the first round. Second round, he knees him in the face and knocks him out, which is fine. But it's another instance of he should have lost to Severino because he got out-grappled. He was losing to Davy Bittencourt before he kneed him in the face and knocked him out. He missed weight for that fight at 125. Despite the fact that he's only 5'3" and considered small for the division. It's a ballooned up record. It looks good on paper. He's 17-1. The substance behind it is not much. He's a snappy little striker. Cardio doesn't seem great. Physicality doesn't seem great. Ring IQ doesn't seem great. Serviceable, not good. So the fact that Clayton Carpenter is a nearly 3-1 favorite over him, and then furthermore beats him up easy. The takedowns were very easy. The second round, he takes him down, right? He just gives up his back. Carpenter grabs the choke. He barely even fights hands. He just accepts the position. He's pulled out a fight with Josh Van due to an injury. That fight with Carpenter represents the only fight he's had in the last 2 years. That fight was a year ago. There's a lot to really not like about it. Hasn't fought in a year. He's had 1 fight in the last 2 years. Small for the division, yet still missing weight. Cannot grapple. Nothing to like. Stewart Nickel, meanwhile, he's a BJJ black belt. And he's a competition black belt. He goes to a bunch of competitions and does quite well against other black belts. Mm-hmm. All of his wins are generally quick. As soon as he takes you down, he beats you up. You'll see a lot of quick finishes. And it's like, oh, this guy's going to gas. Maybe. But his one fight against Jamie Renouf, XFC 47 a couple years ago, that's a 5-round fight. And he fought the 5 rounds there. It's a lighter weight class guy. I have no reason to believe he's going to gas. But against Jesus Aguilar, just made a bad mistake. Watch his fight back against Issei Kitano. It's exactly how you'd want someone you're betting on to fight. He just pushes the guy up right up against the cage, shoots 5 or 6 takedowns up against the cage, eventually completes it, leg laces him, advances position, punches him in the face a number of times, and knocks him out. It takes no risk. Against Jesus Aguilar, he got the takedown, and he was looking pretty good. And then a scramble ensues. And if you're familiar with Jesus Aguilar, he's got a really good guillotine choke. And Nickel never tapped. He went unconscious. But whatever. It's MMA. Things are going to happen sometime. And what I see in this fight against Lucas Rocha is Lucas Rocha really can't grapple. And Stewart Nickel is much larger than him. Not much larger, but he's a few inches taller than him. He's a little more compact. He's a much better grappler. He's physically strong. He gets takedowns in the vast majority of his fights. And so what? He got guillotine choked in the first round. It happens. That's like a fluke knockout or a flash knockout. Oh, man, you bobbed when you should have weaved. I left my neck out there. UFC debut, lots of jitters, big card. It was a pay-per-view card, UFC 305. Yeah, the moment got to him, sure. He's 30 years old. He's not a rookie. He knows what he's doing. He likes to stick to the game plan. The game plan would work real good here against Lucas Rocha. And in Rocha's case, yeah, I want to see him on the scales, make sure he made 125, but he's not a big guy. He's not physically jacked. He's exceedingly done poorly against grapplers in his last number of fights. I just feel like Nickel's got a path of victory that can be taken. A judge can rob you in these punchy kicky fights, right? A judge can rob you when it's like, oh, well, you did this, but the guy had a moment or two. You take a guy down and completely neutralize him, take his back, put a body triangle and hang on to him for 3-4 minutes, or flat out submit him. There's no robbery going down. And so Nickel's just got to fight that type of fight and make this a dominant performance and win. I am going to side with him.
Yeah. I was pretty excited about Stewart Nickel when he came in to that fight. I loaded up pretty hard on him. So where I struggle with him
he's the underdog now, though.
trusting the guy. Because I saw all the same things. Like when I taped him coming into that fight against Jesus Aguilar, I'm like, this guy actually looks pretty good on tape. Everything was checking out. He got the takedown. I felt pretty good about that. And it's just like he didn't do his due diligence. That's like, yeah, you can't just leave your neck open to Jesus Aguilar or else. Like,
loves the neck.
That's like his one thing. That's the one thing he's got going for him. Low volume. I mean, I guess Jesus had a pretty nice fight last time out actually against Jesus Aguilar's game may be coming along now, but
he's 2-2, but his 2 losses are like some of the best guys in the division. So like, yeah, Jesus can fight, man.
Yeah, he's been coming along. But yeah, my only struggle, and maybe that's why we're getting like a half decent price on Stewart Nickel, because everything that you said kind of checks out in that respect. Is like Lucas Rocha can't really grapple outside of getting submitted by Aguilar. The chin's held up for him. They like the durability's been there, so it's just like get takedowns, hang out in guard. Maybe it's boring. People are going to be booing a little bit. Maybe get stood up a little bit, but you just have to stick to that game plan. So maybe we're getting a bit of a discount on Stewart Nickel. I do worry about like Australians coming over to Brazil, the time shift, everything like that. Like I'm going to do a little bit of due diligence on like creeping Stewart Nickel's Instagram, see like, did he come over like a week ago? Something like that. Those types of things do concern me because those are the things like most people don't handicap into their process. But like anytime you go traveling and stuff, like especially if you're like one of those people like me, for instance, it's like if I travel, it's like I can't sleep on like a plane, train, any sort of transportation. I just can't do it. So it's like I think there's plenty of other people out there like that. Those are always things that you kind of want to take note of. So I'm going to look in to see like when Stewart Nickel actually landed in Brazil. But
yeah, definitely do, because it's been known to happen that you arrive and Stewart Nickel rolls out with his bag, okay, and then there's a guy standing to the side, says, "Oh, Mr. Nico, welcome to Rio. Let me grab your bag. Please enjoy some acai." And he says, "Oh, geez, I like Rio." You have a little acai, and then the guy says, "I got his bag, boss, and he's eating the acai, fool." Next thing you know, you're shitting your brains out for a week, and they stole all your training gear. Mm-hmm. It's good to go to Brazil 2 weeks in advance, pass that acai through your butthole, and get new training gear, and then maybe you can get ready for the fight. But back in the day, like way back in the no holds barred days, it was like not uncommon to be like, my opponent's staying in this hotel, so my buddy's going to this hotel at 2 a.m. to pull the fire alarm. Therefore, my opponent is going to have to come out of his room at 2-3 in the morning and stand outside to the fire department. It's like, You're really trying to mess with the guy as much as you can. It's war. This guy's trying to kill me. I'm trying to kill him. Any way I can gain the system. I talk to coaches all the time. They're like, yeah, I would do anything necessary to give my fighter an advantage outside of flat out cheat, like load the gloves or something like that. Because yeah, this is what this is. It's not a game. We're trying to game each other. So you're not wrong, Paul. These guys that are, I'll just go to Brazil a week out. It's like your body's going to take a while to adjust, and they're not going to make things easy on you. There was stories of like the USADA guys in Brazil being like, pee, and the American guy like, all right, so they'd pee, and then they'd be like, we lost the sample, so we're gonna hang out with you for the next 2 hours till you got to pee again. It's like, are you just saying that because the Brazilian guy over there didn't have to pee at all? Why do I got to do it? The commission's on the same page. The drug and testing agency guys are in the same page. Although this is not going to clear. Chuck it. They arrested the guy at the airport and confiscated Jose Aldo's piss sample because they were like, that ain't going to come back the way we think we want it to come back. Get it pulled away. He can get a new sample tomorrow. The new sample tomorrow will be clean. So Brazilians, I respect to them. They are willing to cheat to gain the system in victory. Applaud you for it, but you got to watch out. So these plus 110 even money fights, one guy's traveling from Australia to Brazil. Paul's absolutely right. And check out his socials. Make sure he looks like he's feeling good. Watch weigh-ins and then lock in whichever way you want to go.
Yeah, there's really, I was just on Stewart Nichols' socials. There's really no definitive answer. Last training session seems to be like a week ago, and then like his stories have him having first of many plates this morning, still eating good, with a licking his lips emoji. And it looks like, I don't know, it looks like pretty basic, bacon, eggs, a little bit of fruit.
Yeah, have this chicken. I didn't cook it all the way, but it's good Brazilian chicken.
Looks like really real basic hotel buffet fare. So
that's 5 stars. That's 5 stars in Rio, though, Paul.
That's probably 5 stars in Rio, respectfully. Yeah, Nichols is a pick. He's dead to me. He's dead to me if he loses this fight, though.
For sure.
He's 100% straight up dead to me. And it's a pick'em fight, so it's like he has a 50% chance per the odds of being dead to me. I will never bet him again if he loses this fight. You may get cut if he loses this fight, to be perfectly honest. Next up, we got Walter Walker taking on Muhammad Usman. Walter Walker minus 330. Comeback on Usman plus 270. I'm not even going to waste anybody's time. If you were going to bet Walter Walker, the only thing he's even trying to do these days is basically just fall back and catch heel hooks. Ever since the Brzeski fight, it's just like, I don't want that to happen. I don't want to go deep into this fight. And like as he moves up the food chain, maybe this is the fight where he gets stuffed and things don't actually work out. Because let's face it, Junior Tafa, Dante Almeida is like lower end guys in the division. Kennedy, former light heavyweight. But credit where credit's due. He's been able to go out there. He's been able to grab that ankle lock or the heel hook or whatever and get her done. So if I were to bet Walter Walker, it would be literally just his sub prop because he doesn't seem to be trying to do anything else at this point but fish for submissions. And minus 330, no thank you. I think his like sub prop is like still like, and I know people are gonna have like the exact sub methods and stuff like that, but like even him by sub is like plus 175, hasn't been touched. Like if he wins, it's probably because he does the same old shit he's been doing every single time. I will pick him by sub, but yeah, that minus 330 is not getting it for me. Your thoughts?
Can you tell me what the best on-market price for the over 1.5 and then what the over 2.5 is? Is this thing expected to go rounds or they're all expecting Walker to walk right through?
This is expected to go rounds, apparently. Over 2.5 is plus 115. So it's like pretty much a pick 'em to the 2.5.
So the bookie thinks Walter Walker is the minus 300 favorite. He's gonna win.
But by decision.
Yeah, but they're leaning towards he's gonna win by decision. Yet the decision prop for him is probably super high. My honest opinion is that it probably does go to decision.
Plus 200 for him by decision.
Yeah.
Nobody's touched it. Nobody's
because
touched either
common
side.
thought is he's gonna sub him for
Yeah, of
sure.
course.
And again, if this fight was in Las Vegas or if it was stateside, I think I would outright pick Usman. I still am gonna outright pick Usman along the same basis of why I faded Petrino against Peterson. Right? If I bet both of these underdog heavyweights, I just need one of them to come through and buy the plus money. I will be okay. But it's a lot of the same stuff. It's like you got an unimpressive opponent potentially in a bog of a fight. When you look at Walter Walker, prior to coming to the UFC, everything, all of his fights are on the ground. Just takes guys down. That's what it is. Beats them up. 6'6", big guy. Takes you down. Lucas Brzezinski in his UFC debut, right? He got takedowns in every round. The thing is that when he takes you down, he doesn't do anything with it. He literally just lies up in your guard. That Brzezinski is able to push away, stand back up, and start clobbering him. Walter Walker won the first. Brzezinski wins the second. The third round, Walker gets the takedown. He goes to take his back. He slips off the top. Brzezinski stands up, smacks him over the top for 30, 40 seconds, wins back the round, and wins the fight. It's bad ring IQ, bad cardio, bad skills, right? His wrestling is his best asset, and yet you can't hold down Brzezinski, and you can't strike with Brzezinski. Where are your other skills? So he decides, I'm going to do something different. This Junior Toffa fight, he gets the takedown. He doesn't do nothing for 4.5 minutes, okay? He was on Junior Toffa for 4.5 minutes. He landed 4 significant strikes from top. The 10-second clapper goes. Well, I got nothing to lose. So he drops back on the heel hook, and he gets it. So I was like, oh, dude, that was way easier. He wasn't trying to ground and pound him. He wasn't trying to improve position. Junior Toffa is about as bad of a fighter as you're going to get. He landed 3 significant strikes from top, but then heard the clapper and dropped back on the leg. So then they give him Dante Mays. Well, Toffa's 6'3", no takedown defense. Dante Mays is 6'6", with no takedown defense. So he takes him down and falls back on the leg, and it works again. Then he gets Kenji Njoku. Kenji Njoku is 6'6", 6'5", I think, actually. No takedown defense, former 205-pounder. So he takes him down. He drops on the leg. That becomes what you believe is the easiest path to victory. It's like, I just won 3 fights and I never got punched in the face, really. I've taken no damage. I'm coming into this fights in and out. I'm getting submission of the night bonuses and racking up 50 Gs. Why waste your time learning how to throw punches and kicks? Correct. Why waste your time going to wrestling practice 4 days a week? I can just get a shitty takedown and then flop on the back and grab the leg. Well, Kenny's big and tall with a bad center of gravity. It's high. Dante Mays has a high center of gravity. Junior Toffa's got a high center of gravity. Muhammad Usman's only 6'2", at 245 pounds, former college wrestler. Taking him down is going to be way harder. In fact, the only guy that's ever taken him down is Thomas Peterson. Took him down twice and got less than a minute of control time. Once in the second for like 38 seconds. Once at the end of the third round, then the round ended. But holding him down is a problem. Taking him down is a problem. He fights at a very low output pace that he doesn't overexert himself. He'll just wait. He's got a long-ass reach on him, 79 inches, but he actually uses a jab. Walker doesn't. So you're going to have Usman popping the jab. Walker's going to bulldoze in. They're going to go up against the cage. Usman's going to lean his back, dig an underhook. And what are you going to do? You're going to drag him to the ground? Peterson hit him with a single leg in the open field. That's not how Walter wrestles. He wrestles up against the cage. And the easiest place to stuff a takedown, especially if you're a decent wrestler, is up against the cage. So I think Usman stuffs the takedowns. If he does stuff the takedowns, maybe it's a bit of a striking battle. If it's a striking battle, Usman wins. If this thing grinds out to these later rounds, I feel like who's in better shape? Usman. Now, Usman is 9 years older. Can't take that away from Walker. He's probably getting better, and he should be in decent physical shape. But at heavyweight, 36 is not super old. And the last thing I will say on Usman is he loses to Parkin. He doesn't look good. He loses to Thomas Peterson. He doesn't look good. He fights Hamdi Amdal.
Didn't even try to wrestle.
Hamdi shot one takedown attempt, but he got nowhere close. Like, Usman immediately bucks him, digs an underhook, and shucks him off. And then it's like, yeah, I don't want to exert energy doing that anymore. So he stops. But in that fight, he loses the first round. He doesn't look good. He goes to his corner, and immediately Rashad Evans is like, stop circling to the right. You need to start going off from his power hand. All he's throwing is the overhand. You need to circle off. When you're throwing the jab, that's the distance. Put the right hand straight behind it. Does exactly those 2 things in the second round, wins the second round. It's coming into the third now. His corner is like, this is the gut check. This is the time to show up and say you want it. Do more than him. He does more than him. You can kind of see his confidence growing. He's on a 2-fight losing streak. He's fighting Hamdi. You could see the confidence rising the longer the fight went. Then you check out his social medias, and he's at Killcliff FC, obviously, for this camp, but he's been doing a lot of strength and conditioning work with some doctor specialist down there who handles Kamaru's strength and conditioning. He handles Ong Lasang. You just saw his retirement match in one championship. He does Michael Johnson's strength and conditioning. He's been putting a lot of work into plyometrics and physical conditioning and road work and just being in really good physical shape. So against Walker, who I don't really think, I think he just goes to the gym and flops to his back and practices heel hooks. If that one thing doesn't work, Usman should be able to put in the better overall performance, land more strikes, stuff a few takedowns, drag this guy out, make it sloppy, and then it's another split decision type fight on our hands. The judges like Walker, which they may. I'll give it to him. The judges look at, reasonably one guy stuffed takedowns and spent a little bit of time with his back up against the cage, but landed some better shots. Maybe he'll win, but it's going to be close either way. I think it goes to decision. I think it's an over 2.5. I think it's over 1.5. I think it's easy to look at Walker and say 3 wins, all by first round heel hook. That's what they're all going to be like. No, that's not. It's good matchmaking. They matched him up with guys he could do that to. Usman's not good. Similar to Thomas Peterson, he's not good. He's got the type of style that's going to make this other guy look a lot worse than people expect. And similar to Vitor Petrino, both these guys are 3-1 favorites. Walker's a 3-1 favorite. I don't like it. Vitor's a 3-1 favorite. I don't like it. So I need to either just pass on both those altogether, or because we're in the business of making a pick on every single fight, and I have the PRP here, we're going with a couple dirty underdogs, Paul. A couple dirty underdogs, Paul.
Muhammad Usman got subbed in the second round against Brandon Sales.
He was gassed out, tired, man. He took a beating on the feet before that, but I hear what you're saying. He has been subbed.
What if somebody slips some tryptophan or something else
if he got
his acai?
Yeah, he's done, bro. You're not wrong, Paul. You are not wrong.
No, I that's why, I flat out said it's just like, I have zero interest in Walter Walker at minus 330. Like, he's doing one thing and one thing only. If I get to this fight, it's going to be the sub prop, but it's early in the week, and those props haven't really moved. So I'm willing to wait it out, see if somebody offers me a better price than like the plus 175 of Walter sub. And if it gets shorter, I probably just skip it. Like, I'm not the guy doing like PRPs and stuff like that. I'm not making bets on every single fight. So this would be one that I'd probably end up avoiding if I don't get the number I want. And that would be Walter Walker by submission. I don't know. Give me plus 250 and we'll dance. We got Julia Pilastri taking on Karolina Kowalkiewicz. Pilastri a minus 450 favorite to come back on KK. It's plus 350. Where are you at with this one?
Yeah, this one's more closer to CF dot model than the other bout that we talked about. On one hand, Karolina Kowalkiewicz. You ever heard of like I don't know what it's called, like Bernstein effect, or you think you remember something happening, turns out it never happened. I thought Karolina Kowalkiewicz retired after her last fight. So when I seen her name pop up on this card, I was like, but why? You're 40 years old, lost your last 2. Just seemingly not super into the fights anymore, fighting a lot lower volume, getting muscled around. Her last 2 opponents, she took on Diniz Gomez, who's 24 years old. Before that, she took on Yasmin Lucindo, who's 22 years old. Now you're taking on a girl in Julia Pilastri, who's 27 years old. Like, you're 40. You're 40 years old. I think she's 40 the week after the fight or something, or a month after the fight. So, you may say, oh, yeah, she's 39. Yeah, hardly. She's about 40. I just don't really know what the motivation to continue to go on is. But I read an interview where she's like, I had a decision to make. Do I leave MMA at 40 and just call it a career and go get married and start a family and have a kid? Or do I try to pursue a few more fights? She won a few more fights, so she's got nothing else other than the fight game. That she's been a competitor her entire life. She's got 9 wins in the UFC. She's got 9 losses in the UFC. She ain't making it into no title fight. She's not making it into any relevant fight. She's getting brought in to get beat by younger prospects. And to throw in random theory, these younger prospects are usually always Brazilian. So she's 9-9 in the UFC, but she's 0-4 against Brazilian opponents. In fact, she's never really won a round in the UFC against a Brazilian opponent. Jessica Andrade took her out in 1 round. Claudia Delia took her out in 1 round. Yasmin Lucindo and And Gomes, her last time out, basically about 30-27 her. So, yeah, to me, it's the speed, it's the physicality, it's the striking. She's starting to get slower and regressing, and these opponents just keep getting bigger, faster, stronger, and it's really not working out for her. Polastri, it's a winnable fight because she really doesn't do much well, but she wants to stand in front of you and just plant her feet and throw strikes. Her technique's not all that good. Her volume's okay. Power's not great either, but she's wily, you know. She'll stand in the pocket with you, throw a few good strikes. She'll move around, throw some decent kicks, and then she'll clinch up with you and try to press you into the cage. Her takedown defense is not great, but it should be good enough to stuff those Karolina Kowalkiewicz takedowns. And then standing, I just think she presents a little more volume. This thing's probably going to decision. Mm-hmm. This thing's probably going to be, I would say 30-27 for Polastri, but it could also be a 29-28 situation. When I say Karolina's done, and I do mean that, her last fight against Deniz Gomes in the third round, she came alive. She came alive in the third round. It's just too little too late because she's down 2. That could be the same thing against Julia Polastri. Maybe she's loses the first round and it's a competitive second round, and now all of a sudden you're heading into the third round, you're holding a -300 ticket on Polastri in a fight that's going to the distance. That's likely striker versus striker. They'll both pretty well do about the same amount. I don't love it. I really don't. But I did end up taking her because with Karolina, if it wasn't the end her last fight, I think it's going to be the end this one. If she's 0-4 against Brazilians in the UFC, I feel like it's going to be 0-5. And at least this girl's 27. She's not 22 or 23. She's still 13 years younger than you. And speed and physicality have been Karolina's biggest issues. And taking on these young opponents is not going to solve the speed and physicality issue. So I can't pick Karolina, but I will fully admit this is a lot closer to the CF dot model. I can see her winning, just not enough times for me to make the bet.
The only thing I will correct you on there, Cody, is one thing you did say is, if you go through her socials, you see that, she doesn't have much else going on, Karolina.
Oh, do you have an OnlyFans?
That's not true. One in every three posts is pushing you to OnlyFans on Karolina's.
I think Polastri has an OnlyFans,
and she got a new set. She got a new set.
Oh,
I believe a couple fights ago. She got some sort of enhancement.
I will tell you this, Paul.
She's moving on to that next phase in her life, and you gotta get you need new clientele, you need new eyeballs. Hence why you need to take these new fights. I'm not excited to bet Polastri, but I think Karolina. It was nice to see her, go from like top of the mountain, had a horrible losing streak. She had a nice 4-fight winning streak to kind of get back into some sort of picture, but the last couple of fights, it seems
then got the fakies and then started losing. Jhonata, legendary Polish champion, big nice rivalry versus her and Karolina once upon a time. Jhonata got the fakies, awesome fakies for the record, but then her fighting career also went downhill. Last thing I will say, Andrew Tate said, if you're looking to meet the right man and start a family, you ain't going to meet it on OnlyFans. So, girl, I don't know what the hell's you do. Do you want to fight? Do you want to start a family? Do you want to shake them fakies on OnlyFans? 6 years ago, Karolina Babe, there's something weird going on in her face where it seems like it's melting.
It's always been melted.
It's always been melted. Yeah, maybe when it was tighter. Yeah. I don't know. I don't want to be a jerk. We're not here to talk about looks. Being jerks. We're here to talk about fights. And Polastri also has an OnlyFans that I would not sign up for, but I think she wins the fight. That's the main thing here. Main thing is she wins the fight. If you don't like this 3-1, take Polastri by decision. If you want to bet either side, take the fight to go to decision. But I think it's going to be 15 minutes of punchy kicky without a whole lot of power or substance behind it.
Yeah. I feel like a Karolina bet is one that'll be like close, and like you'll actually think at the end of the fight that you're like, that wasn't the worst bet I've ever made.
Brazil will say no,
but you still end up losing.
Yeah.
I've bet Karolina a ton of times, and like I've been in that situation many, many times, especially when she's a big dog, and you still end up losing at the end of the day. But you're like, that's not the worst bet I've ever made. The problem is you make so many of these losing bets, and it's just like, well, now I'm just kind of throwing money away. That's kind of how I feel. Yeah, she has OnlyFans too.
I think they're only taking this fight to increase each other's subscribers.
100%.
Because apparently OnlyFans
collabs are going to be happening after.
They've agreed to collab and fight each other in a steel cage.
All right, we're done being jerks. Pilastri's the pick. What's this fight ends by split decision? I'm kidding, but not really kidding. I don't have time to look that up. Anyway, finally, we got Luan Lacerda taking on Simon Oliveira. Lacerda minus 245 if to come back on Oliveira plus 210. I mean, Simon Oliveira may be the worst guy in the UFC roster, correct? Like, what has he done?
Yeah, obviously.
That makes you feel like he's got. I mean, he's 0-3 in the promotion
over a 4-year span.
Over 4 years span. David Martinez. I mean, absolute stud. Absolutely killed him. Daniel Marcos, not particularly a heavy hitter. Knocked him out in the second round. Tony Gravely got the win over him. His win on Contender Series was against Jose Alday.
Barely won.
Hardly. Everything points you kind of towards Luan Lacerda here, who it's not always been great for him by any stretch of the imagination. But he's fought Blackshear and Cody Stamen. Like, he's fighting. He's not getting absolutely starched necessarily against a little bit of a higher level of competition. All I see from Simon Oliveira anytime I've taped him is just like really, really reckless, like spinning technique, stuff like that. Like, sure, you could catch him with something silly like that. Outside of that, I don't really see very much substance to his game. Luan Lacerda is a pick for me. What about you?
Yeah, on the same boat. He throws a lot of spinning back fists. Paul's right. Like, he'll throw 3 spinning back fists in the same round. And when was the last time you seen someone get knocked out by a spinning back fist? A while ago. When was the last time you seen someone get knocked out by a spinning back elbow? It's like, oh, dude, all the time. It's the new hot move. It's the new hot move. He don't do that. He doesn't time it. He throws a punch and misses the punch. And then because you're off to his side, he just windmills a spinning back fist. You definitely don't like the process out of the guy, how he comes to the conclusion that these are the moves I'm going to throw. He's a little bit wild. He's a little bit reckless. His technique's not good. He's 34 years old. When you watch him fight, you think he's tall. He's only 5'5". He stands so goddamn tall that he's just waiting to get countered. His durability obviously not great, but knocked out in the first round of his last fight, knocked out in the second round, the fight prior to that against Daniel Marcos. There's a lot not going his way. This is a great example why I preach to people all the time. Just be a good person. Just try to be a nice guy. I get pulled over, not anymore. I'm a lot better. I used to get pulled over all the time. And then, whereas my buddy would be like, tell me what law.
We lost him. He got too excited. Cody got way too excited. I wonder where he was going with that. Where did your camera go? I can't hear you anymore. He knocked out his camera.
Yeah, I'm not really
there he is. He's back.
I'm not sure what happened. What part?
It's okay. I kind of rolled with the punches. You got too excited. I think you just smashed a button.
Yeah,
you're going like something like that.
I was getting fired up. Just be a good person, right? So what I'm saying is that I've been pulled over a bunch of times, and then when you're with a guy and he's getting pulled over, he's like, "Tell me what law, bro." Well, I didn't do that. Let me see your ID. Well, you have no right to ask for that. Then all of a sudden, the cops just don't like you. They don't like you. You're getting a ticket. You're a nice guy. Oh man, I'm sorry about that. I didn't see that. They see you're a good guy. They let you off. I am sure that doesn't work for everybody, but just you get a lot more with honey than you do with vinegar. Simon Oliveira is clearly a very good guy because there's no way other than that he'd still be on the roster. Well, like Paul said, what has this guy done to remain on the card? He's been with the UFC since 2021, right? In 4 years, he's averaged less than a fight per year. He's had 3 fights. He's lost all 3 of them. He's never won a single round in any of those 3 fights. He's been off he's had 1 fight in the last 2 years. Why would you keep the guy around? Because obviously he's a good dude. And you got guys on the roster that are asking for more money and guys on the roster that are asking for different opponents and guys that you meet them and they want an Instagram photo. They do something to rub you the wrong way. I don't know. There's other guys that they're just like, yeah, this guy's a cool dude. Every time he comes around, he's easy to work with. He takes the fight that gets presented in front of him. Keep him around. That's Simon Oliveira. It's the only reason I can think of. But yeah, he's 34. He stands way too upright. 5'5". He's not tall, but he's got a tall man defense to him. Very flat-footed at times. Throw these weird spinning techniques. There to get countered all day long. I just don't really see much of him. And in his fight with Tony Gravely, he got taken down 11 times. He would get, he would stand back up and he'd land a couple decent shots against Tony Gravely, but Tony Gravely's 5'5", right? Daniel Marcos, that's the tallest guy he's fought, is 5'7". David Martinez is 5'5", right? Luan Lacerda, yeah, he's 5'7" with a 71-inch reach. He's just a lot bigger than him, I think. In terms of how they fight, the same. Lacerda is also a shitty kickboxer who stands directly in front of you and just throws a whole lot of kicks. He's a slow starter. The first round, his body language looks like he's tired. The second round, he'll start to dog you, and he'll come forward, and he'll throw a whole bunch of kicks. What I don't quite got figured about him is when you watch him on the regional scene, this dude's got a submission win over Marceli Alves before signing with the UFC. Marceli just won the PFL $500,000 tournament at 135 pounds.
Mm-hmm.
So all of his wins are by submission. In fact, he's got 12 pro wins. 10 of them are by submission. 0 wins by knockout. Well, that's problematic because Simon Oliveira seems like his biggest issue is his durability issue and knocking him out's on the table. It may not be against Lacerda. Therefore, I'd like to see Lacerda rest a little bit more, and he just really overly doesn't. But the reason why I end up picking him is the Cody Stamann fight. He really did come forward and gave Cody Stamann, a good fighter, a lot of problems. The Damon Blackshear fight, he managed to get a takedown over Damon Blackshear. I think his wrestling's good enough to take down Simon Oliveira. I think his striking is good enough to hang with Simon Oliveira. But it's the body work. That was it for me. Paul may have the stats in front of you, but if you go to Lacerda versus Stamann, right? And you look at significant strikes. Luan Lacerda landed 31 strikes to the head. He landed 44 significant strikes to the body. All he does is crash forward and hook, body kick. Hook, body kick. His next fight against Damon Blackshear, mind you, he had been taken down a lot and didn't land a whole lot of strikes, but he landed 16 to the head, 9 to the body. It's a third of his total offense against a guy that wanted to take him down was to the body. When you watch Simon Oliveira in his fight with Daniel Marcos, it's not a knockout to the head. It's Marcos walks in, and Marcos is 5'7". He's bigger than him. He's the same 5'7" that Lacerda is. He walks in, he grabs him, and he knees him a few times with the body. And instantly, Simon Oliveira starts to wilt. Instantly. I think he's soft to the body. And even though Lacerda's got no knockouts, I don't think you got to beat him in the head. I think you got to work this guy's body, hit him with a liver kick, cause him to wilt up against the cage, duck under, hit the level change, hit the takedown, out grapple him from there. I do have Lacerda, but when you watch tape on him, he's not the most skilled guy. Tad bit reckless, problematic, and he's a 2-1 favorite. So it's like you don't love it, but I'm not betting Simon Oliveira, that's for sure. And even though I think it's a wily enough fight in the first round, Lacerda's a slow starter. Simon Oliveira's a fast starter. So maybe the first round's competitive. You can get a better live betting price on this in the second or the third, take it. But it doesn't change the fact that Lacerda wins. If Lacerda has a good first round, you're not likely to get this line coming back in your direction. So do what you will with it. But this is Brazil on Brazil crime. Don't have to worry about the judges getting it wrong. And then, good chance they don't make it to the judges anyways. So I'll take Luan Lacerda.
The only thing I will say, Cody, is when your computer knocked out there,
yes,
you're down. You're coming through your laptop computer.
Oh, my bad.
So when it just looks like you're looking over us. You're looking over us,
Mr. Big Man. And it's obviously rocky when I move my head.
Just look down at your laptop while you deliver the PRP for the people.
I will
look down at my laptop while
You don't have to switch any of the other stuff. He's back! He's back on his regular camera.
Paul, listen, I'm not the smartest guy with technology, but I don't know if you would have given me a. Oh, now Paul's out of it. Oh
no, I swapped to you because I thought you were going to go to the PRP.
I'm going right now to the PRP. We're going right now to the PRP. We are going with Charles Oliveira. Basically even money. Deiveson Figueiredo, dog number 1. Joel Alvarez, Jonathan Diniz, Ricardo Ramos, Michael Aswell. Really don't like that Aswell one. Split decision. Paul and I talked about that. Clayton Carpenter, I will take. Thomas Peterson will be dog number 2. Beatriz Mesquita. Stewart Nickel, technically dog number 3. Kamaru Usman, even Kamaru would probably win this fight, but Muhammad, going to have a much tougher than his talented brother. He'd be dog number 4, and then Palastri and Luan Lacerda. So technically 4 dogs. A couple of these are basically even money. Like Stewart Nickel's basically even money. Charles Oliveira is basically even money. The underdogs that we do have, Usman's, a big enough underdog. Peterson is a big enough underdog. And of course, Figgy baby, Figgy Sr., because his brother's very bad, very, very bad. Those guys come through. Even if one of the three underdogs comes through, there'd be the value still there because of the plus money associated with it. But yeah, listen, the first ever PRP I ever hit was UFC Fight Night Brazil 32. It was in Goiânia, Brazil. Jeremy Stevens beating Hani Jason was actually an underdog pick. It was probably the best underdog pick on that card. I believe it was Vitor Belfort versus Dan Henderson too. That was the first PRP I ever hit. That was 12 years ago, right? So I know the last couple of weeks haven't been great, but I just got to get back to my roots, which is stinky Brazilian cards where I get the right bid on who's going to win and which Americans, like Stevens, will just knock the guy out and not have to get robbed on the card. So that's what we're trying to figure out. Weigh-ins are going to be important this week. I know I've been slacking on the weigh-in show just because I have a zillion things going on, but we're back. We're back this week. So I'm going to do the weigh-ins and prop show on Friday, and of course back on recaps on Sunday. Appreciate all the support as always, and you guys sticking in there with us. And Viva la Brazil. I'm going to eat the good acai. Hopefully make some money on this card. Not eat the bad acai. Be sitting on the toilet the rest of the night. So good luck to everyone playing.
Good or bad acai all kind of look like a big pile of purple. You know what? But
it looks coming out. It looks going in.
Hondo P. Anyway, that's it for us this week. Hope you enjoyed this show. For Cody, I'm Paul. Saying goodbye and good luck.